Today, a metropolitan magistrate on a private petition filed by Subramaniam Swamy of the BJP said, and I quote, that the complainant, which is Subramaniam Swamy, has established a prima facie case against the accused, among which is Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi of the Congress party, under section 403, which is dishonest misappropriation of property, 406, which is criminal breach of trust, and 420, that is cheating, read with section 120B, that's criminal conspiracy of the IPC. The magistrate also issued a summons to Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi and several other Congress leaders. The case is regarding fraud. It's regarding misappropriation of funds. Subramaniam Swamy claims he has the proof. The Congress is denying the charges and saying it's pure and simple political vendetta. Is it turning out to be, after the Lok Sabha elections, the new big challenge for the Congress party and its top leadership? That's the big debate that we are following here on the first half of To The Point. I'm Maharuf Inayat, and the top story: if the Lok Sabha whitewash wasn't enough, the Gandhis have landed in some serious trouble yet again. BJP leader, like I was just mentioning, Subramaniam Swamy's explosive charges against Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi pertaining to the National Herald land grab case may have put the first family of the Congress party in the dock.
It's gone beyond political bluster. The gloves are off and the Gandhis' BJP political fight has reached tipping point. Sonia and Rahul have been summoned by Delhi court in the National Herald case. The summons for August 7th came with a damning order. The court declared, from the complaint and evidence so far, it appears Young Indians was created as a sham or a cloak to convert public money to personal use, or as a special purpose vehicle for acquiring control over rupees 2,000 crore worth of assets. Young Indians was formed with Sonia Rahul holding 76% stake, and it took control of Associated Journals and its real estate worth 2,000 crores in due course. The court has summoned all 6 accused in the case, and the charges are grave, from dishonest misappropriation of property, criminal breach of trust, cheating and criminal conspiracy. For now, the Congress is only promising a befitting response. The last word on this sordid episode hasn't yet been said, but the Congress first family clearly has a tough fight on its hands. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
Joining me this evening on To The Point, Siddharth Varadarajan, senior journalist from Delhi, KTS Tulsi, senior lawyer from Delhi again, Mahesh Jethmalani, member of the BJP, is joining us from Mumbai, senior leader from the BJP, and we're waiting for Manish Tiwari, a former Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting and national spokesperson of the Congress party, also joining us in just a bit. Let me start with you, Mr. KTS Tulsi. As far as Subramaniam Swamy is concerned, he filed this complaint as a private petition. The court today says, prima facie, there is enough evidence of cheating, of dishonest misappropriation of property, and they've issued a summons to Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and other leaders. Now, Congress party says that this is a motivated complaint. Aren't they disregarding what the magistrate is saying? Aren't they disregarding what the court is saying? KTS Tulsi.
You see, whatever little I know about the law, this is a stillborn case. The case is based on the frivolous and vexatious allegations. Mr. Subramaniam Swamy does not have the locus even to initiate these proceedings.
Why do you say that?
If you see the nature of allegations, there are mainly 5 allegations which have been made in the complaint.
Right.
The first one is that he converted a public firm into a private firm. That the Gandhis converted public firm into a private firm.
Right.
The second is acquisition of Associated Journals. And in fact, Mr. Subramaniam Swamy himself refers to the resolution of the All India Congress Committee. Then there is unsecured and zero interest rate to extinguish the liability of the company. and the Congress has given loans. The other is shareholders meeting. Now these allegations are all purported to be the offences under the Companies Act.
Right.
Because acquisition of company and everything arising out of the acquisition of company. Section 462 of the Companies Act bars filing of a complaint by any individual other than the registrar of companies so far as offences against the Companies Act are concerned. Now the magistrate departs from the allegations in the complaint and goes on to invoke the provision of 406, that is criminal breach of trust. For criminal breach of trust, the first ingredient of the offence is a false representation. Who has made a representation to Dr. Swamy? He doesn't even claim that anybody has made a representation.
Let me simplify it for the viewers. Mr. Tulsi, let me simplify it for the viewers.
Yes.
Did or did not the Congress party give a sum of 90 crore rupees to a business? Isn't that illegal? As a political party, are they allowed to give a loan?
I am saying that the order of the learned magistrate is completely perverse and against the law. Because the law prohibits the filing of a complaint with regard to matters of the company by anyone other than the registrar of companies. There is an express statutory bar which has not been noticed by the learned magistrate, and therefore this case just cannot proceed. The other ingredient of 406 can't be made out on the basis of, even if you accept everything that is written in the complaint by Dr. Swamy, because no representation is alleged to have been made to him by anybody.
Let me get Mahesh Jethmalani in.
And the third is...
Let me get Mahesh Jethmalani
with regard to cheating.
Because the BJP has been vociferously backing what Subramaniam Swamy has said in court. Mahesh Jethmalani, KTS Tulsi is saying this is a perverse judgment by the magistrate. There is no basis to this case. Okay, we'll go to Mahesh Jethmalani in just a bit. We're having some trouble with the audio. But Siddharth Varadarajan, you're hearing what KTS Tulsi is saying. Clearly, at this point, what the learned lawyer seems to be suggesting is there is no basis of this case. But in terms of basic legality, should the Congress party have handed over a loan or whatever it was they might want to call it of 90 crores to a business? That's what I'm asking as the basic question here.
Look, I mean, far be it for me to cross swords with Mr. Tulsi on legal matters, so I'm not even going to go there. But I'm looking at this entire transaction, the loan from the Congress party to Associated Journals, then the conversion of that loan, which was made to Associated Journals, the acquisition of that loan by this new company called Young Indian, where the shareholders are primarily Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, for a consideration of 50 lakhs, and the subsequent acquisition of Associated Journals by Young Indian. I view this entire set of transactions to be highly non-transparent. Now, it's possible that the Congress party, and I'm not entering into the realm of law, these transactions may be legal, as Mr. Tulsi suggests, they may be illegal, as Dr. Swamy alleges. That's for the courts to decide. But I think the veil of, I mean, the lack of transparency in this entire set of transactions is something that disturbs me, because if the stated purpose of the loan being advanced by the Congress to Associated Journals was to revive National Herald as a newspaper, the way that Janardhan Dwivedi and Motilal Vora at various times have suggested once the controversy broke, then how does one square that with the introduction of this new player, Young Indian, into the equation? And so why does Young Indian come into this? On what basis are the entire assets of Associated Journal, which owns land, transferred to Young Indian? Aren't there other shareholders that have an interest in the National Herald, in Associated Journals? So I think that there's something a bit strange about this entire web of transactions. Now, whether this, and of course, in the Congress party's defense, the Young Indian company is a Section 25 company. So it does appear that the purpose of this transaction, I mean, how they would make money out of it, or because Section 25 company is a not-for-profit company, you can't even draw a salary. So I would say this is a murky, mysterious transaction. It's possible that the Congress party has a rational explanation. And I'm just hoping that what we couldn't get out of the Congress.
Let me ask Manish Tiwari of the Congress party. We have two or three versions here, Mr. Manish Tiwari. KTS Tulsi says it's a perverse judgment by the magistrate. Subramaniam Swamy says that this is a clear-cut case of fraud, misappropriation of funds and cheating. And Siddharth Varadarajan says there's something murky about this. Manish Tiwari.
Well, at the outset, I would agree with what Mr. Tulsi has said. You know, this is a bad judgment, this is a bad order, and with all due respects to the magistrate, it would obviously be challenged after proper legal consultations. And I would merely like to point out that the National Herald was an ailing company which had been extended help by the Indian National Congress over a period of time. Dr. Swamy had earlier challenged these transactions before the Election Commission, and the Election Commission in its order had found that Dr. Swamy's complaint is completely unmaintainable. And as Siddharth Varadarajan was pointing out, it is a Section 25 company. So obviously no director or any other office bearer can get any pecuniary benefit out of it. So in a sense, if you look at it in its entirety, it's a perfectly just, legal and valid transaction. And before the court, we would establish the bona fides and demolish the complaint in its entirety.
But Mr. Tiwari, explain this to me, because I'm very curious to know that why did the Congress party extend this loan to a business? Isn't that illegal in every book? Isn't that illegal for a political party to be extending a loan to a business? Why was that done, Mr. Tiwari?
Well,
And I'm talking about National Herald, which was a publishing newspaper.
Well, you've asked a very relevant question, and therefore I would like to direct you to the order of the Election Commission. This is precisely the issue which Dr. Subramaniam Swamy had agitated, and the Election Commission in its order had clearly stated, and the Election Commission, as you're aware, is a quasi-judicial authority. Dr. Swamy had gone to it in order to get the Indian National Congress deregistered, and the Election Commission came to the conclusion, after perusing whatever he had to say, that a political party is entirely justified in using its funds in the manner it wishes. So therefore there was no illegality in the transaction between Associated Journals and the Indian National Congress to begin with. First of all, it was not a one-time transaction. This was help which was extended over a period of time, because the National Herald was the voice of the freedom movement. When it ran into financial difficulties, the Congress party stepped in order to keep it afloat.
Mr. Tiwari,
there came a time when
Mr.
this was not the only
if the reasons were emotional, and I want to interrupt you there,
so
if the reasons were purely emotional,
so therefore an arrangement was made.
May I come in at this point? If the reasons were purely emotional for the Congress party, which the Congress party has said in the past as well, then why wasn't the loan extended to Associated Journals? Why was it given to Young Indian Private Limited, of which Mr. Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, everybody seems to have been a shareholder with majority stake? Why wasn't it given to Associated Journal? If the whole idea was to save the National Herald for the role that it had played in the independence movement.
Well, I think you've got your facts mixed up, ma'am. The loan was in fact extended to Associated Journals only. The loan was not extended to Young Indian. So therefore, I think you need to get your facts right. And, please go and read even the order which this magistrate has issued, which, as I pointed out, is totally misconceived in law and would obviously, be challenged, and we will prove our bona fides. So therefore, as I was stating, that the transactions which have been carried out are completely in accordance with the law. There has been no violation of any statute, and in any case, insofar as criminal law is concerned, in criminal law, the locus standi of somebody who's a wayfarer is absolutely non-existent to begin with, and that's why I started by saying that this complaint is not maintainable in law.
Okay, let me just, you mentioned that I don't have my facts correct. As per all the papers that have been put in court by Mr. Subramaniam Swamy and what is available elsewhere as well, the 90 crore rupees was given to Young Indian Private Limited, and Young Indian Private Limited in turn extended it to Associated Journals. Is that right or is that wrong, Mr. Tiwari?
No.
Which is where you are wrong. Which is where you are wrong. Which is where you are wrong. That fact is
then
absolutely
explain to me,
incorrect.
how did Young Indian come into the picture?
Money over a period of time had been given to Associated Journals. Well, as I explained to you, that when Associated Journals ran into difficulty, so therefore an arrangement was sought to be made whereby the entire project itself of disseminating the views of the Indian National Congress with regard to consolidating the secular and democratic traditions of India needed to be exemplified and broad-based. So therefore a not-for-profit company was created and a series of very legal and transparent transactions were carried out, which were reported to the Companies Act as per the statutory requirement, which was reported to the income tax authorities, which were reflected in the balance sheets of the Indian National Congress as well as the respective entities. So therefore, for Siddharth to turn around and say it's a murky and a non-transparent transaction, it only becomes murky and non-transparent if there is no full disclosure. In this particular instance,
for a second, even if we...
And in any case, there has been no criminal breach of trust and there has been no cheating at all.
Even if I for a second say that I've got my facts wrong, okay? Even for a second if we say I've got my facts wrong, Associated Journals does not exist anymore. Young Indian Private Limited now has all the properties and the real estate that once belonged to Associated Journals, which goes to the extent of 2,000 crore rupees. Many of these properties, especially the National Herald property in New Delhi, is no longer being used for publishing at all. It has been rented out to the External Affairs Ministry with a rent of 60 lakh rupees that is coming to Young Indian Private Limited, Mr. Manish Tiwari. Where is the tall claim of that the Congress party is making that this money was extended to harbour the dreams of the National Herald?
Well, that's precisely the point which I am trying to belabor, which I think I am not being able to get through to you. That Associated Journals, which used to publish National Herald, the Qawmi Awaz, was not helped in a one-time transaction. It was a series of transactions over a period of time in terms of a loan which amounted to 90 crores finally, and those were not the only liabilities which Associated Journals had. So therefore, since it did not have an income stream, in order to be able to pay off those liabilities, a part of that liability was transferred to Young Indians. The rest of the liabilities was settled in terms of the voluntary retirement scheme which was given to the employees, the statutory provident fund dues, the statutory dues to the MCD and other entities, and therefore it was decided that a not-for-profit company would be created, which would
and the not-for-profit company had 38% shares of both Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. In 2010, when the not-for-profit company was formed, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi had 38% each in this not-for-profit company, right?
Illegal? Is that?
No, I'm just asking. I'm not making any. I'm not coming to any conclusions here. I'm just asking you a question. That Young Indian.
No, I'm asking you a simple question.
Yes, please go ahead.
No, I'm asking you a simple question. Because you've been making this aside, a very sarcastic aside, that 38% of the shares are held by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi.
I'm just stating facts, Mr. Tiwari.
Respectively.
I'm just stating facts, Mr. Tiwari. I'm not making an aside.
Is it illegal for an Indian citizen to hold equity in a Section 25 company?
No, but Mr. Tiwari, what is curious is what started out to save National Herald somehow became about a not-for-profit company for Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi.
Can draw any remuneration out of a Section 25 company.
Okay, let me bring Siddharth Varatharajan in. Siddharth Varatharajan, you've been listening in, and I want to get in KTS Tulsi as well. But Siddharth Varatharajan first. As far as Mr. Manish Tiwari is concerned, and he's better at debates than most people I know. He seems to suggest that I'm creating a certain aside as far as these transactions are concerned. And just because Young Indian is a not-for-profit company, then we should be curious about the fact that A, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi had a majority share in it, and B, the very reasons for which the loan was first extended to Associated Journal or National Herald seemed to not exist at all.
You see, the reason I called this transaction or the set of transactions murky is not because I'm alleging that there is any illegality. This is something that the courts have to settle.
Exactly.
The fact is that the reasons why the Congress party chose this particular set of arrangements has not been explained to anybody. And quite frankly, it doesn't even make a lot of sense to me or to any observer. Because, of course, it's not illegal for Sonia or Rahul or anybody else to own shares. But,
nobody has even alleged
it's valid to ask. Yeah, no, I'm saying it's valid. It's a valid question to ask. Okay, what was the reason why mother and son are the ones who have 76% of this company? Why not any other Congress party member?
Right.
Why not any other person? What's the logic? What's the reason? I'm sure the Congress party has valid reasons, but I mean, so far, other than saying that no illegality has been committed, it's all above. Of course, these transactions are reported to the authorities. But in terms of, you're a political party, and a political party is crossing the line, setting up a business, its political leaders, and incidentally, Rahul Gandhi becomes vice president of the Congress party only in January 2013. Sonia, as the president of the party, one can say, fine, if the party is setting up some kind of a Section 25 company or any company, it makes sense that Sonia would be the principal shareholder as the leader of the party. Rahul Gandhi becomes an office holder in January 2013. This company is set up well before that. So what's the, what is the logic whereby the party settled on these names? And if it's to promote the vision and beliefs of the freedom struggle and Jawaharlal Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi, I would like to know from Manish, what have the activities of Young Indian, this company, been since its existence, other than simply acquiring the assets of AJIL for a song and now earning rent? What have the activities of this company been to promote the vision of Nehru and Gandhi? And if it's merely going to be a vehicle for the Congress party's political activities, then maybe this is not a very good arrangement, because essentially you've taken a private company, which is AJIL, which had its own shareholders, and all of those shareholders seem to have vanished or disappeared, and nobody's speaking for them, and their assets have essentially been handed over to Young Indian, which consists of 4 or 5 shareholders, primarily Rahul and Sonia. So the process by which this has happened is not at all transparent. And I think the Congress party ought to explain what the purpose of this whole thing is.
Okay.
Motilal Vora and Janardhan Dwivedi at one point said, we want to just one last point, last point. Dwivedi Sahab and Motilal Vora at one point had said, we have a sentimental attachment to National Herald, we want to revive the paper.
Right.
Rahul Gandhi went on record to Pioneer, which in a sense broke the story in 2012, saying, we have no intention of reviving the paper.
Exactly.
So, somewhere or the other, the party has tied itself in knots and speaking at cross purposes, and that's why these questions have arisen.
Okay, Manish Tiwari.
Well, I can answer the bat. First of all, Mr. Vardarajan, is the Congress party the only political party in this country which is running a newspaper? What about the communist parties which are running newspapers and television channels in Kerala, in West Bengal, in other places? What about the Bharatiya Janata Party, which has been running the organizer for a very long time? So before you accuse the Congress of trying to run a commercial venture, I think it is legitimately the right of every political party to have instruments which can disseminate its views. So therefore, if the National Herald or its successor was there, I think that's a perfectly legitimate exercise which a political party ought to be doing. To answer your second question as to why weren't there other shareholders in Young India Limited. Well, 76% of the equity, if it's held by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, 24% of the equity is held by other congressmen. So therefore, they are not the only shareholders. To answer your third point, Mr. Rahul Gandhi did not become an office bearer of the Congress Party in 2013. He became General Secretary of the Congress Party in 2007 itself. And number four, with regard to as to what the activities of Young Indian are, I suggest that you just please go on to the website of Young Indian.
Okay.
No, so you please just go on to the website of Young Indian and you will find as to what the avowed aims and objectives are and what is the activity they have been carrying out. So
okay,
therefore,
gentlemen,
all your 4 or 5 questions, I think, stand answered, plainly and in a very transparent manner.
I'm afraid, Mr. Tiwari, some of the answers have not been given by the Congress Party, except for calling it a motivated complaint. But nevertheless, I'm completely running out of time. To Siddharth Varadarajan, KTS Tulsi, and of course, Manish Tiwari, thank you so much for joining us here on To The Point. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make contact with Mahesh Jethmalani. It would have been wonderful to get his comments as well on this debate.